guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is gonna be sort of a first edition. You guys requested this when I asked what videos you wanted me to film, and you wanted to see the pans that I have in my collection. So today I thought that I would do sort of a recap of every eyeshadow palette that I have hit pan on and every pan of eyeshadow that I have in my collection, and then I will do another video showing you all the other products that I have pan on. It doesn't matter what type of products they are, because if I do eyeshadows and rest of the face on the same video, this will take forever. I'm gonna just show them to you, tell you how many pans I have on each eyeshadow, and do close-ups of the eyeshadow while I do, so that you can see the pans and focus on the pans, and so that this video is not extremely long. So if you want to see a lot of pans that I have in all of my eyeshadow palettes, then just keep on watching. I realized while pulling out the eyeshadow palettes that I'm gonna show you that I have about 10 eyeshadow palettes in my collection that do not have pan on them, or about 12 of them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on them for next year, even to hit pan in one eyeshadow of those palettes, just to make my collection look more used and abused. So I'm gonna start showing you the palettes. The first one is one that has my singles, and it has my warm singles. And it has Colourpop, Makeup Geek, Anastasia, some different brands. And this one has pan in one eyeshadow. I've been not focusing on my singles that much, that's why only one of them has pan, but that's okay. Then my other palette of singles, which is this one, also has Colourpop, Makeup Geek, and whatnot. I have 7 pans on this one, so 8 pans so far entirely in my collection, and most of them are Makeup Geek, and then one of these, 2 of these are from Estila, one palette that I depotted a while ago, and I used to use these shades a lot. This is a highlighter, so I'm not counting it as an eyeshadow. I have here my 3 5-pan Natasha Denona shadows, and this is Joya, which was a limited edition one. You can see that I have 3 pans on this one, and you will see these ones in the finale of the Pan That Palette series that I have here on this channel. I already filmed that, but that's gonna be posted after this video, not before. So you will see all the Natasha Denona shadow pans that I hit, and that video is gonna talk more about the Natasha Denona shadows. Then for the Cranberry Palette, I've hit pan on 3 shades of this one as well. This is a gorgeous palette, and it's one of my favorite Natasha Denona palettes, for sure. And then for the Aeris palette, I've hit pan in just 1 shade, but it's one of my favorite shades from Natasha Denona. This is the Narcissist Palette Loaded from Nars, and it's such a nice palette. This is now on my Roulette Pan collab that will end on the 15th of January. And spoiler alert, I already hit pan in the shadow that I set as my goal on this one. So I hit pan on this one, but I know before the finale I will be hitting pan on the white one. So yeah, I have 2 pans on this one. This is one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes, and this is Dolce Vita. Now it's called Bella Sofia, and it's a Charlotte Tilbury quad. I hit pan on 3 shades. I need to finish this palette off. This can be a project for me, because this was the palette that I used when I got married, and I'm gonna have my 5-year anniversary, so this is getting older, and I really want to finish it because it's one of my favorite palettes, and I would definitely repurchase this one. I have here my Tartelette Toasted palette, and on this one I have 3 pans. I'm so excited that I've gotten use out of these palettes. I love the scent of them, and my clients love them too. For the Tartelette in Bloom, I have 2 pans here. This is a beautiful formula, great for bridal makeup, and it's great for every day, and it has sort of a cool tone vibe, and then the toasted one has more of a warm tone vibe, and I really love this one. I've fallen in love so much with my Natasha Denona shadows that I've forgotten about the rest of the eyeshadows in my collection, but that doesn't mean that these are not amazing. This is the Natasha Denona Safari palette, and this has tiny pan on this brown shade right here, and I've used this. It's just that mattes from Natasha Denona are harder to pan. I have here the Dream Street palette by Colourpop, by far the best Colourpop formula that I've tried. I've tried their singles, and I've tried the So Jaded palette, and this is the winner so far. I love the formula on these ones, and I've hit pan on 3 shades. For my Sunrise palette, I have two shades right here. And when you see the shadows that I've hit pan on, you can see the colors that I tend to reach for the most, which are warm tones, pinky colors, and peachy colors. I just adore them. I have here my So Jaded palette by Colourpop, and this one also, spoiler alert, because I already hit pan in Stoned, which was my third shade for the Roulette Pan collab. So I have pan on 3 eyeshadows. I do not like this eyeshadow palette. I wouldn't recommend it. I will use it and I will try to put it on my kit, and if I don't love it anymore, I will just pass it on to someone else. I have here my Tropic palette, which is a beauty, and this one has 3 pans on them, all that have been done this year. This is an oldie but a goodie. This is the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette, and on this one I have hit pan in 4 eyeshadows. This is a beautiful palette. It's a palette that I should carry more on my kit because I love all of these brownie shades. Those are easy for me to use on my kit. These deep colors are also easy to use, and these light colors as well. So I need to play with this one more on my makeup artistry kit, but it's a lovely palette as well. The Natasha Denona Metropolis palette has 4 pans right here. These are wonderful. This eyeshadow palette, it's so good that this is the reason why the So Jaded palette maybe didn't make the cut, because even though the price point is completely different, I was expecting more from the blendability of the mattes of the Colourpop shadows that I can see that they can do on the Dream Street palette and on some of their singles, but they came up short. They would blend away when I was blending them, and that was just not something that I like. I don't like to just have to work super hard to get an eyeshadow to work, and that's what happened with the So Jaded palette. Okay, I have here the Dominique Latte palette, and this is a good palette and the colors are wonderful. I have hit pan in 1 eyeshadow. I'm about to hit pan on this one right here, but I haven't. So I have hit pan in this brown, and this one fell off, so I didn't hit pan on it. I didn't even use it before it fell off, but this is a beautiful eyeshadow palette if you want to start out a makeup collection and you want an everyday palette. This is the Natasha Denona Gold palette, and this has 5 pans in it. This is one of the loveliest palettes that I've ever used, and I just adore it. It's one of my favorites from Natasha Denona. The Prism palette by Anastasia. A lot of people didn't love this one because they thought the color scheme was super random, but this is one of my favorite Anastasia palettes because it has so much richness and pigment on their shades, and I love the black. I love a lot of the shades. Maybe the only one that I don't adore is a Sphere because I don't use it, but that doesn't mean that it will not be handy to have in my collection, and this still performs amazingly. And on this one I have 5 pans. Another one that I have 5 pans on is the Sunset palette by Natasha Denona. You can see that I've hit pan on these 3 shades, and then these 2 right here. This is one of my favorite shades from Natasha Denona. It's called Bronzage. This is a palette in which I have 10 pans. 10 pans in 1 eyeshadow palette. You can see how used and abused this palette is. And this color right here, it's almost reaching its end, and I would repurchase this palette. This is one of my most used bridal palettes, and it's one of my most used palettes in my collection. I adore it. I find it to be a staple. It's one of those eyeshadow palettes that if I had to remove my entire collection, I would purchase this one first and the Biba second. Those are my 2 more used eyeshadow palettes for sure. This is the Modern Renaissance, and this is such a great palette. This was the palette that made me fall in love with Anastasia's formula, and I've hit pan in every single shade, so I have 12 pans on this one, and I've been using it this year a lot since I restarted doing makeup, and I've loved it. For cut creases, I've been using Vermeer, Primavera, Tempera. I really like it, and I think I can finish soon this Cypress Umber and just keep the one that I have in the Soft Glam. This is one of the palettes that I want to finish. If I don't finish the reds, that would be okay, but I want to finish every other shade from the palette. Another one that I fell in love with this year is the Green Brown palette by Natasha Denona. This has pan on 6 shades, and that for me is a ton. You can see them right here. I love this palette. I need to use the greens more, but just the fact that I love, if I get to hit pan in all of the browns, I would be extremely happy. This is just a great palette for sure. and I would highly recommend it if you're looking for something. If you love greens and then you love doing neutral looks, you can get away with having this palette. And this silver is like no other silver you have ever tried. It's just so wonderful. The Subculture palette was not a favorite for everyone, but it was one of my favorites. I still use it till this day. I know people say that they have a few of their subcultures gone off, but mine is still perfect, and I love the pigmentation of this one. Maybe this year, next year, I will hit pan in every shade. I just adore it. The color scheme of this one is just so yummy, and it's the reason why I bought the Safari palette from Natasha Denona. It's just perfection. I have tiny pan on one, but the rest you can easily see. So 5 pans for the Subculture palette by Anastasia. For the Love palette by Natasha Denona, this is one of my newest palettes in my collection. I purchased it in February, and this has 3 pans in it, and you can see that this is a bigger pan, and this one as well. This is a small one, but pan is still pan. So yeah, 3 pans for the Love palette. Okay, the Norvina palette, these I have 10 pans on it, and this one really caught me by surprise. When I purchased it, I liked it, but I wasn't crazy about it. And the more I use it, the more I love it. I love the shimmery shadows from this palette. I know soon I'll hit pan in the 2 that are left, Celestial and Drama, and I know soon I'll hit pan in Love. I don't know about Soul, but I know that I can hit pan in every shade of this palette if I put my mind into it. Even Soul can have pan in it. So 10 pans is a lot for a 12 pans eyeshadow palette. And the truth is that this one, the Soft Glam and the Modern Renaissance would be the first 3 palettes that I would repurchase for my makeup artistry kit. These are the palettes that I can use on my makeup artistry kit the most. It'll give me bridal looks, neutral looks for the bridesmaids, and just crazy beautiful looks in general. And the shimmery shades are just so easy to work with that I just can't stop myself. I wish Anastasia would come up with more eyeshadow palettes like this ones, because they're way better than the Norvina collection in my opinion. Another one that I've hit 10 pans, and this one had only, when the year started, I think 3 pans, so 2 eyeshadows and the concealed shade right here. But now it has 10 pans on it. I've been using it this year like crazy. I put it on my rotation for a while, and I couldn't stop reaching for it. I just adore it. And this is again another one that if I run out of it, I would repurchase for my makeup artistry kit. It's a staple. But this year I didn't hit pan on it because it was my makeup artistry kit, because most of the year I wasn't even doing makeup. It was because I used it a ton, and I just find it to be beautiful. Even the glitters, which you don't see me wearing glitter that often, are easy to use and are not, they don't look chunky. They look beautiful on the eyes, even though they're a little bit chunky, and they set and they stay on the eyes. They stay put. I really love them. I love this eyeshadow palette. It's one of the best for sure. So 10 eyeshadows from the New Nudes by Huda Beauty eyeshadow palette. Another new palette from my collection, and this one I got as a gift from my mom in the middle of the year when it was summer. And this was the Natasha Denona summer release, and this one I recently hit pan on Deep Dive, and it looks so beautiful. I love this palette. I love it. I don't know, there's something missing from it that I would love for it to have, and I still don't know what it is. But I would like a little bit more versatility, but I know I will hit pan eventually in every single shade of this palette because they're so wearable, so nice for a monochromatic look. I have here my Just Peachy Matte palette by Too Faced. This is a wonderful palette if you love matte. I've realized that even though I love matte, I prefer to have a palette that has shimmer in it as well. But this again will be one that I will focus on for my makeup artistry kit a lot next year, because it has a lot of staples, and sometimes I can mix and match with other palettes that have shimmer in them. So yeah, this is a beautiful one, and it has pan in 1 eyeshadow. These are super hard to hit pan on. Too Faced eyeshadows are not super soft. Even though they blend beautifully, they're not ones that you will hit pan as easily as an Anastasia eyeshadow palette. This is the Master Palette by Mario, and this one has 10 eyeshadows and it has 10 pans. Even though the green one doesn't look like pan, it's because I don't know why the color of the metal underneath it it took the color of the eyeshadow in a way. But I have heat pan on the 10 eyeshadows of this palette. This is a palette that I also want to finish in my collection because it's getting older. But it's one of my favorite palettes from Anastasia. I think they should re-release this. They should just get in touch with Mario and do this again. And if they can even improve the formula a little bit more, which I don't know how it can be possible, they should do it, or they should do a second version of Master Palette by Mario, even if Mario has his own line of makeup. This is from Too Faced, and this is one of my oldest palettes in my collection, and this is a few of my favorite things. This has a few products for the face that I love, and it has an eyeshadow palette on the other side. They still perform really nicely. And this one, Chocolate Milk, I've heat pan on it. This is a wonderful eyeshadow palette. It's just that I don't know why I don't reach for it that often. One staple from my collection is the Biba palette by Natasha Denona. It's one of my favorite palettes of all time. And this one has 6 pans in it, and you can see how it looks used and abused. I truly love this palette, and this black is definitely my favorite black in my entire collection. Okay, so I counted all of the pans from my eyeshadow palette, and I've heat pan in 148 eyeshadows. A few of them I'm about to finish. I know that I have other palettes that I haven't heat pan on in any shade, but I know I can do so next year. And also keep in mind, you guys, that I sold 11 of my palettes that I've used before. A few of them didn't have pan, but others did have pan. So let's say about 5 pans in the other eyeshadow palettes that I sold. That's over 150 pans that I've hit for the duration since I've had all these palettes. And a lot of them are new, a lot of them are only 1 year old or 2 years old, and I already have major pan in them. So that's something that's amazing to see. So thank you guys for the idea of doing this video. That means just that I have to keep working on them. Next year I will see if I can do something like my friend Too Much Tash, Natasha, here on YouTube. She has a pan percentage from her eyeshadows, and that's something that I would like to do, even though that would fluctuate, because if I add one eyeshadow palette, then the percentage will be more difficult to reach. But I want to keep working on hitting pan in all of the eyeshadows that I own. And if not, this should also teach me what palettes I'm not reaching for, if I should reach for them more, if I should just sell them or declutter them because I'm not working on them. So yeah, but most of my palettes have pan in them. I have pan on 33 of my eyeshadow palettes, and then on 29 of them, counting even the duos of eyeshadow that I have. I didn't count the singles that come in that have their own packaging, but I count the duos. Everything that's a palette, when it comes to even 2 eyeshadows or the rest of them, I count it. So I don't have pan in 29 eyeshadows, which I need to work on. And then on 33 eyeshadow palettes, I have pan, and I have 148 pans. Also keep in mind that I have 6 new palettes in my collection, and only 2 of them I've hit pan on this year. So 4 of them are basically brand new, and I haven't had the chance to heat pan on them because I'm just starting to play with them. So that's it, you guys. That's it for this video. As an emoji today, leave me something pan related. Whatever it is, I love when you do pan emojis below. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Also hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a video. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.